No problem. Right. No problem.
Go ahead, Mr. Ruka.
Mr. Griffith, we have a photo on the screen. I don't know if you're seeing it, but it's a photo of an advertisement that appeared, I think, in a 2020 advertisement where assault rifles were being advertised for sale by firearm dealers. Can you explain why that happened and how that happened? And we also have a report where you called them in and spoke with them as to putting out advertisement on these type of firearms. Please explain, Mr. Griffith. The country.
Yeah, sure. So, So, good afternoon to my two favorite talk show hosts. Okay, so let me clarify now. As soon as I heard about that, I immediately called in all firearm dealers and I asked that they do not advertise and promote anything of such on the newspapers. And I can't recall whether it is automatic weapons, but again, they could advertise automatic weapons for sale for the Defense Force or the Protective Services. It didn't matter to me. I thought it was inappropriate and I asked for them not to do it. So as I know you're going back with the firearm thing, so I just want to clarify again. The comments made that 64,000 firearms came in, that is impossible. Because if it is that I was approving 2,000 firearms a year, it would have taken 32 years for those firearms to be sold. No firearm dealer would have done that. Likewise, with the 57 million rounds bought in, there's not even mathematically close, not even 5-10% close to that. That also is a lie. There will be a difference with requests being made to what actually came in. In fact, the police, they actually had to stop training because they ran out of ammunition. I also find it so passing strange that people have a concern with these things about firearms. But in the 3 years I was commissioner, the 6,000 firearms issued, not one was lost, not one was stolen, not one was used for a crime. In fact, dozens of lives were saved. And what made it very hypocritical is that a certain prime minister was the one who actually asked me to try to get a firearm dealership for somebody he knows in Tobago so that they could sell thousands more. And then between a prime minister, a minister, and a acting commissioner, they actually for 60 firearms between themselves. And then as it pertains to Stuart, somebody asked about Stuart Young's firearm. We do not know. He needs to answer why he returned it. It may be that certain persons try to alter what they had, and then they would have broken the law and they should be charged, because you can't alter a weapon from semi-automatic that I approved to automatic without my approval. And if I didn't approve it, that person is to be charged. If I approved it, I as well will be charged. So the comments made by the Minister of National Security was a total lie, which he is in court, by the way, and he will answer that.
Okay, so can we step in now, Mr. Griffith? Mr. Griffith, can we step in now?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Mr. Ruka wanted to say something to you here.
Mr. Griffith?
Yes.
You're saying, before we go to the question that I had before that, you're saying that some of these weapons were being advertised for use by the army, and if so, you're saying you absolve yourself of responsibility for bringing in these firearms, for allowing these firearms to be brought into the country. But I noticed that you're giving yourself some leeway because they may have been brought in for official use.
No, sorry, sir. No, incorrect. No, I understand where you're coming from. No. When those things were advertised, there were sidearms and so forth. My take on it is that I do not want advertisements of firearms on any daily newspaper, regardless of whether it was sidearms for a civilian or automatic weapons for the Defense Force. It is wrong. It is inappropriate. We do not need to go down that road as the United States. So that's why I called them in and I insisted that it is not to be advertised. What I was stating is that only a civilian could get a semi-automatic weapon. The law is clear. So when Mr. Hines made the false statement to say that people change their weapon from semi-automatic to automatic, that is a criminal offense. If I try to approve it, I would have broken the law. So that's what I'm telling you. There are many things. I know you all are very closely affiliated with political parties, but sometimes all it takes is to show the truth, show the evidence. So show the evidence of 64,000 firearms entering the country. Show the evidence of 57,000 rounds entering the country.
Show the evidence of the
Stanley John report, Mr. Griffith. What about that?
All right, so Stanley John report now.
That is concerned, Mr. Griffith. Why are you not using the same token?
Juliet, sorry. You can repeat? I didn't hear you.
I said, with the very same token that you're saying, show the evidence. We can also say show the evidence with respect to the Stanley John report. The people of this country wants to know what is in the... By the way, Mr. Griffith, what it is, you know. that the Prime Minister knows you know that you doesn't want us to know, and I'm quoting the Prime Minister here.
Right, sure. Okay, so I listened to the last callers. I was trying to listen to the callers. The first thing is, the caller who was speaking about my wife and what she's wearing, it shows lack of class. It shows people that you have callers who are below the gutter. And I find it's very disappointing that you, as host, could bang your tables and find that is something worthy. That somebody could be speaking about somebody's wife in that manner. It says a lot about you all and your manners. I am very disappointed that that's just to stick a pin in. As it pertains to the Stanley John report, again, the other, you have many callers who are totally ignorant of facts. The Stanley John report they are mixing up the Stanley John report to the audit report. The Stanley John report, there is nothing preventing the Stanley John report from being made public in any way. The Stanley John report is a matter, however, I have Stanley John in court. I have the for the comments that he made. Because if you say that this is a massive, well-oiled criminal industry, how come after 4 years, something so massive, so well-oiled that he knows, he's going on a witness stand and explain, tell us who are the criminals, tell us who broke the law. Why didn't you, if you see something is such massive and well-oiled people, why does he go to the police and report it so that people could be arrested? It's a massive, well-oiled criminal industry. Not one person arrested, not one person charged, not one person convicted. Let me clarify with the audit report. So the caller who was ignorant of the fact in why we hiding the Stanley John report. This is the audit report that is before the court. Because the government saw it fit, only in a dictatorial country that could happen, where they felt they could hire civilians, put them to join with police officers to be part of an investigation. This is not a communist country. Politicians can't do that. What happened, however, these individuals who they hired were so stupid.
This is not a communist country, so politicians can't do that. Stick up in, Mr. Griffith. I want to have a little dialogue with you.
Yeah, sure.
This is not a communist country, so politicians can't do this. Is this a country that doesn't have laws, and so due process of law doesn't exist? And by the same token, you are saying that we can also say, with respect to Balkan and Morris death or the extrajudicial killing.
Yeah. No, good point, Julian. But we skip in. I agree with you, but let's finish with the audit and then we can go to Balkan because we jump in, and that's why. So I just want to clarify. So the audit report, the government hired civilians, decided to put them to join the police to be part of an investigation. That is madness. Only in a communist country can politicians hire people and then put them to be part of an investigation with the police. What made it hilarious is that these individuals who they hired were either so incompetent or compromised, they did not know. You imagine that there's an audit for 91.9 and you don't speak to Iowa Judge? You ever hear madness like that? Can you have an audit in the Ministry of Finance and not speak to Colin Imbert? But you did an audit in the police service, but you didn't speak to the commissioner. So these fellas are either incompetent or they were compromised. That's
Mr.
one.
Griffith, what are you hiding? I fed up on this. What are you hiding?
But I'll come into that. It's not hiding. That's the point.
Tell me where you're hiding. You're hiding your bank account. You have a bank account. They want to get it. You don't want it revealed.
If you stop interrupting me, I'll answer it. If you stop interrupting me, the fact of the matter is that there was nothing to hide. They wanted to go to Parliament to hide so that they could lie about me and I wouldn't sue them. All they had to do was the same way they love to go on a platform, read it out on a platform. And that is what they couldn't do because they wanted to go. You ever heard about an audit report being read in Parliament? You read it out on a political platform. But the amount of lawsuits I have on all of them for lying, they can't handle it because the one thing the PNM is good at, saying the same lie over and over, but they're smart. They know that if you go to Parliament, like email gates, you could lie and discredit people and not be sued. So there's nothing to hide. You want a name, man. All they have to do is go outside. You ever heard of an audit? You have to go to Parliament to read it because they are cowards.
You're repeating yourself. You're repeating yourself. So
no, because you're not getting the point. If you want to read out something, go ahead. I was looking forward to it. I could make good money soon. You have one on 91.9, Mr. Dale Edwards. I've taken him for everything he has. What? Everything he has. He called me a murderer yesterday. Well, it's everything he has on 91.9. I get yesterday too. Everything he has. Don't get shoelace are taken from him too. So anytime, listen, I have a battery of lawyers and I'll wait it. Anytime you lie about Gary Griffith, I've taken him.
Mr. Griffith, anyway, in any event, you give me a headache just listening to you.
Juliet, just now, there's something Juliet asked.
Do you find it not a conflict of interest that you were just former police commissioner? Did a couple investigation involving persons, and for some reason those investigations were completed by you. We're not too sure how they ended. We as a matter of fact, the country is still waiting on closure on some of these, because you said if based upon evidence they can be reopened, and after that you have found yourself in a political party with persons who you just investigated a mere 18 months ago. Do you find that it's not
which investigation? Be specific. Mm-hmm. Be specific. Which investigations? Let's be factual.
Plant
like substance, email gate.
Okay, right. Let's take it one after the other. The commissioner does not. He is not involved in an investigation. Officers.
But you already had. So
no, sir. Look, anytime a commissioner interferes in an investigation, you will have no compromise. What a commissioner of police doing an investigation? You have nothing to do with that.
Right,
Any commissioner
but you
gets
were the
involved.
one that made the pronouncement, so I guess that is why, because you were the one that came to the media
and said that we didn't
Just like how I'll make the announcement that Marley McDonald was arrested, just as how the commissioner will make the announcement after those officers would have done the investigation.
Do you think it's a conflict of interest just by sheer appearance, just by sheer fact that it appears to the nation, to the average man on the street, the man in the Chatham omnibus, that it appears to be a conflict of interest that you investigated members of the UNC a mere 2 years ago, and now you are in an alignment with them?
All right, well, okay, so to answer that, it was 5 years ago, 1. 2, I was not involved in any investigation. They were junior officers in the Southern Division. They did a thorough investigation, and they're the ones, and I had no communication, no dialogue with them. I didn't even select them. It was the DCP operations and the DCP, intelligence, who then would have appointed the ACP in that division. They would have appointed senior soups and corporals who would have done the package, the filing, and then brought it to me for conclusion and for delivery to the public. So there's no conflict of interest. As it pertains to the Belcon matter, no, I think it's Juliet herself asked about it. Again, in that matter, absolutely not up till now, not one person has been arrested for that matter. So when it says you speak about human rights violations, I think what is amazing that Amory Brown will speak about that with the U.S., but then a prison commissioner, you're not saying he's responsible and the prisoner was killed. The U.S. going to put sanctions on the prison service. 3 SNU persons from the Coast Guard were responsible for the kidnapping and murder of someone. I think they were security for the chief of defense staff. They got firearms from the U.S. because the U.S. funds the SNU. How come the U.S. didn't shut down SNU? We had over 100 other police killings
take over the whole show. And that is what I was afraid of. You could talk more than two that me and my co-host put together. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Griffith. We'll be calling on you. Answer your phone as long as you have behavior. When you come before you could talk for a long time, but not so long.
No, but you asked me a question, brother. You asked me a question. I just give you the answer. My apology.
Your questions and your answers are generic. Every platform I hear you quote the same figures and the same statements. You need to come clean with the nation.
Okay, so now that I've done that, answer it now. No, because that's what an interview is. You asked me something, I gave you an answer. I said, if it is that the U.S. claimed that they shut down SWOT because of 2 persons being killed, and up to now, no, not 1 person arrested, so there's no natural justice. So all of a sudden, we're saying that the U.S. will operate because 2 people get killed, they shut down SWOT. How come they didn't shut down the SNU? How come they didn't shut down the IATF? How come they didn't shut down the MOPS? And all of these, when they had the
Mr. Griffith, we out at time.
Thank you very much for joining us, Mr.
Drink some water.
Okay, in other words, the plan all you had, tell Dr. Rowley next time he call all you to interview me. Let me come with better questions.
All right, okay, thank you. Right, okay, Mr. Griffith. All right. Enjoy yourself, okay.